Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne's Sharp World, where today we're going to take a look at something on this channel that we've only looked at, I think, twice before in the history of the channel. And to be honest, I had no desire to bring you guys another one of these because they just never really did anything for me personally. I've always said that when I bring something to you guys, I want to bring it to you with passion that's excitement or a reason to bring it to you. And for the most part, slip joint knives have just never done anything for me. I've just never really cared about them. I've tried to get into them with no success until now. This company here that you may have heard of, Jack Wolf Knives. I've seen a lot of people talk about them, and to be honest, even hearing people talk about them, it still didn't do much for me. I didn't really get very excited at all. Then I stumbled across the booth at Blade Show West, and I actually picked one up and started to see what they're all about. And it was it's like something flipping a switch in me. I don't know, it's hard to explain because the execution on these things are just different. And so I was talking to Ben, the owner at Jack Wolf Knives. He puts his name back here, so he's obviously not trying to hide from anybody. I really like what he's doing. I really couldn't be more impressed with what he's doing to slip joints, to bringing people like me into the realm of possibly buying one, because doing a lot of stuff right, like a lot of stuff right. So we're going to take a look at this. I actually already have it out here. This is the slip joint in here, and it actually comes with a really, really nice leather slip to carry it in. And the reason it's not in there is because I've actually been carrying this for about 5 straight days now, and it's not coming out anytime soon. I've kind of hid it on social media because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't blowing like false hot air up everyone's behind. But it's legit. So let's take a look at this because there's a lot of really cool things that factor into Jack Wolf Knives. You want to talk about someone that really put all the thought into a product before sending it out. This isn't some budget knife. Oh, I want to really try not to tear this. There we go. Sometimes, budget knives, it's like they come out all the time. They're rushed sometimes. They're still great. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they're bad, but sometimes you just feel like not all the thought was put into them. Every single thought was put into this. And what we're looking at today is the Jack Wolf Knives Little Bro Jack. And this is a series, so the way they release these knives is obviously different knife names, different knife designs, and I think it's once a month. I think it's a new design, one new design a month. Might be a little more time between that. I think it's once a month. But anyway, they're released in batches, one design at a time. And you get, obviously, the box, the message from Ben on the back, which I already showed long enough. I'm sure you could pause it and read that. And it comes in this little can, which is it adds a collectible aspect to it that you don't see with a lot of other knives. Maybe Benchmades and Spydercos and Microtechs have that factor. Protechs probably have that factor. This is really kind of kicking it up a notch because it's unique. Every single one is different. The art is different. It really enhances the collectability, in my opinion. You unscrew it, and then you get a little like pog type thing on top, which is also just kind of just a little repetitiveness of the actual artwork on there. But again, it adds to the collectible factor. And then you get stickers in there, and there's actually foam in there to protect everything. So it's a really secure form of packaging. 2 stickers, and then you get of course, the nice cloth with the Jack Wolf Knives logo embossed on there. We're going to put all that back in here because I will be collecting these Jack Wolf Knives. So I want to keep everything together, keep it nice. Even have like a nice wax seal up here, or some type of seal to help keep everything nice and dry and waterproof, which is great. So yeah, that's the packaging. Really cool packaging. But now let's talk about this knife, because this is next level. Now, I can't say I've handled a custom slip joint before. Actually, let's just take a look at it first, and we'll go back to that. Listen to this. That is walk and talk. That is something I've never experienced until I picked up one of these Jack Wolf knives. And if you're new to the knife scene or the EDC community, the walk and talk is simply the opening and closing of a slip joint. The walk is how the resistance and pull feels, and then the talk is obviously the snapping and clicking sounds you get. They're really nice. Really, there's something about it. If you're already into the scene of collecting like all of us, you kind of get that there's the acoustics kind of factor in there on that. So yeah, really, really nice walk and talk, by far and away, like 3 million miles better than any other walk and talk I've ever experienced on a slip joint. Before I get rambling too much about it, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 6.21 inches, a blade length coming in at 2.67 inches, and a blade thickness of 120 thousandths. And I really was surprised that was 120 thousandths. That looked a lot thicker to me, but I think it's just because of like the very, very acute edges here. You could probably strike a ferro rod with these edges. They're not like sharp, but they are, they're not chamfered or not knocked down at all, which doesn't really bother me. We have a blade material of S90V, so you get all the edge retention. Very, very slicey clip point style blade with a hollow grind of epic proportions. And you'll hear just how epic when we get more to the blade portion. We have a handle length of 3.54 inches and a handle thickness at 455 thousandths. Handle material on this guy is titanium with fat carbon, but there's all the inlay options here available for this. We are looking at fat carbon, as I said on this, but then there's also wood options. There's this material called like blue curacite, something. I've never even seen it, but I've seen it, but I've never heard of it before. I think it's curacite is what it's called, blue curacite. It looks awesome. I want to say there's like 4 or 5 different flavors in terms of inlay versions for this particular model here. And as you know, with slip joints, there is no locking mechanism, but I'm telling you, when you pull this thing open, it's not locked, but the strength of the open position is very, very good. You can put in really good work with this knife. Now, obviously, it is a slip joint, so you got to be really responsible with this because, especially this blade, it is razor sharp. A weight coming in at 2.1 ounces and a price. This is where some people will get turned off, especially if you're not like a dedicated slip joint person, because we're looking at $299. Now, I'll say this, like I said, like I was starting to say before, I've never handled a custom slip joint, but I'm struggling to see a custom slip joint because I have handled customs before, just not custom slip joints. So I have an idea of what to look for when you're talking about a custom. I'm sure there's some differences with slip joints, but the overall fit and finish and feel and blade grind and walk and talk, everything on this to me, if you told me this was a custom Jack Wolf, I'd believe it. Now, there's not custom Jack Wolves. These are all not mass produced, but they're all manufactured in a production process. These aren't customs, but they do, boy, oh boy, you could trick somebody. We'll put it that way. Absolutely fantastic build quality, very strong. In the open position, you don't have to worry about the blade. I mean, you always want to be aware that the blade could close on you, but I wouldn't be too worried about it because I would obviously know how to use a slip joint to begin with. I wouldn't do anything too crazy with it. Size comparisons. The best ones I have, because I obviously don't have any other slip joints in my collection. Well, I actually do have a Swiss Army knife, but I don't have it right on me right now. The Civivi Elementum and the Pena front flipper. The Pena front flipper is probably a really good size comparison because it kind of has that traditional slip joint look to it. But as you can see, it's still considerably bigger, noticeably bigger. And of course, the Elementum is, just looks a lot bigger in every single way. But let's bring these up and put them a little closer together. Pivot to pivot, as you can see, actually a pretty close amount in terms of sharpened edge. They're really not super far apart, but you do get maybe a little, well, I don't know. They're actually really, really close. Handle, a little wider, a little girthier on the Pena, a little slimmer on the Jack Wolf knife. But I gotta say, the actual ergos of this is very, very nice because it really is kind of like a small fixed blade in that sense because there's no clip. So it feels really good. And again, I would use this knife in this position right here with my thumb kind of pressing on the knife on the back of the blade. It's going to be very, very hard to close the blade on you. But again, be careful if you get one of these things because this blade right here, not only is it just a clean and classy clip point that I'm a very, very big fan of, we're looking at 12 thousandths behind the edge and it's a hollow grind and it will cut you bad if you're not paying attention. So use your tools responsibly, everybody. This is one to where you don't want to close the blade. When you close this knife, make sure your fingers are all the way out of the way and it can safely go down because it will take a piece of your finger off if you're not careful. So be responsible. I can't stress that enough with this thing. When I first got this, I was so careful because I was worried about getting bit by it. And if you get bit by it, you're probably going to need stitches because it is stinking sharp. And like I said, 12 thousandths behind the edge and a grind that, in my opinion, because I have handled custom knives before, just not custom slip joints, this is basically like a custom level grind to me. I could not be more pleased and satisfied with the quality of grind on this blade. Really, really big fan of how they did this. Now the handle, there's really not a whole lot to say. It's simple, easy, smooth ergos. They're not like hand hugging, but there's obviously no issues because there's nothing to really get in the way. It's a slip joint in terms of the ergos. If you've handled one slip joint, you've handled most of them, especially the average, kind of classic slip joint size. Incredibly smooth fit and finish. There's nothing that would catch your fingers anywhere on the piece. Very nice transition lines and all that good stuff. I have no complaints. I am thinking about Rit dyeing this fat carbon black though. If I could get like a different tones of black all over the handle, I think I'm going to do that. It would look like camo fat carbon. That would be cool. I'll think about that. Do you guys know, if you can Rit dye carbon fiber, let me know. I've never looked into Rit dyeing carbon fiber. I kind of assume you can, but I don't know for sure. So let me know. And into the action again real quick. It's phenomenal. It is by far and away the best walk and talk action I have ever experienced on a slip joint. And now again, I haven't handled every slip joint in the world. I've handled probably like 10 or 12, but I get so bored and so like blah with them. I don't look for them. I just handled this one because I heard everyone else saying about how amazing they were. And I questioned it. I really did question just how much I was going to be wowed by these. But I gotta say, I am a Jack Wolf knife fan. I'm very, very surprised I'm saying it, but I just can't say I've ever had that strong desire until now to get one of these things in hand, and this is staying. Like I said, I might even get into collecting these. I don't know. It's going to be a slippery slope, but it's executed to perfection in my opinion. The presentation, the overall execution, the collectability factor, the satisfaction of it all for a slip joint. I really think it's as good as you can get. I truly do. Maybe someday there'll be something else similar, but right now, this is the one and only. Yeah, you'll see more Jack Wolf on the channel. I really, really enjoy this, and I'm really hoping there'll be another release of something like the Gunslinger Jack, because I did handle that at Blade Show West also, and I was floored. And I mean floored by the Gunslinger Jack. If you like front flippers, and you like middle finger flicking a knife that is, just, oh my God, I have to get one. I'm going to look. But yeah, getting off track. This right here, the Little Bro Jack, is phenomenal. I know I rambled a little on this one, guys, but I wanted to get my point across because I've said bad things about slip joints in the past. And I really have nothing bad to say about this brand, except they're expensive. It's not bad, it's a fact. They're just expensive. So you're either okay with the price or not. But if you want something to where you get the most quality and fit and finish and satisfaction from something like a slip joint, this is it. This is it. I admit it. I was wrong, and I'm okay being wrong because this is a great knife. The Jack Wolf knives, Little Bro Jack. Let me know what you guys think of this. Let me know what you think of slip joints in general, and if you've noticed the difference. Have you felt the Jack Wolf knives difference? If you have, try to help explain that to people in the comments, because it's going to just go over some people's heads, and I get it because I used to be one of those people, but I am just really digging this. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and until the next one, I'm out.